Hello, good day, beautiful people. I am the Inspirational Lady Noble 365 Tarot. Welcome to my channel. I greatly appreciate you being here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I trust you'll love this vibe. And everything you need to know about me is in the description below. This could be past, present, or future, you or someone around you. So take what resonates and leave the rest for someone else. This is a general read. This is not a personal read. If you like a personal read, check out the description below, and I'll be happy to assist you. And so keep in mind that tarot is a tool. It is not the final rule. So it's a good idea to have an empty cup when you're on Lady Noble's channel and you really want to see what's up. All are welcome on this channel and all contributions are highly appreciated. Okay, let's start off with a few oracle cards. Hope you all are doing wonderful. All right, I like that energy, the way that card popped out there. Okay. Ooh, self. And it's in the shape of the human heart. Self. So with this card being depicted here, self, and it's in the shape of the human heart, the human anatomy inside of your body. Okay. So this is a need for you to focus on yourself. This is a time to not be distracted by the people, places, and things around you. When it comes to paying attention to what's on the news or what's in the media, I'm not against the television or what's in the media, but simply learn to not allow yourself to get emotionally attached to everything that you hear. You have to grow accustomed to not allowing every snippet of information that you're hearing to make you become enraged or overly emotional or put you in the energy of stress. It is okay to prepare yourself. It is okay to be informed, but it's a good idea at this time to focus on yourself. Do not engage or assert yourself, Spirit is saying, in any kind of energy or any kind of energy that is involving friction. Any kind of energy that is involving being in an uproar, becoming upset, being emotionally distraught or disheveled. So this is a wonderful time to focus on yourself and simply mind the business that pays you. And that's you, your currency, your well-being. We all have different experiences here in life. But with the self card, and I was going to pick another, I was led not to. They want me to work with this card here, self. Work on the inside of you, the outside of you. Maybe decluttering your home, maybe cleaning your car, cleaning off that closet, getting to different projects, maybe around the home that you've been wanting to get to. Maybe you have a room you want to paint. And that paint is sitting in the corner, So this is a good time to focus more, increasingly more, Spirit is saying, on yourself, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. No, I'm not a licensed medical physician. I'm just speaking metaphorically from this card. It's in the shape of a heart here. And Spirit wants you to, if there's anything that you feel you need to maybe speak to a therapist, speak to a psychologist, a life coach, someone you can trust. If you feel you need to get some things off your chest and you need to have a release, you want to make sure you're doing it in the healthy way, or going to your physician and maybe they can refer you to someone. But you want to make sure you're doing it in a healthy way. This is a good time to focus on yourself, making progress in your own personal life and not being so overextending yourself into things outside of you, people, places, and things, being too involved, too emotionally attached, to what you're hearing in the media and gossip and what the celebrities are doing. Make sure that you're maintaining your frame, make sure you're maintaining your home and what's going on behind your doorstep. Okay. You are the MVP and you are the most valuable player. So it's very important that you focus on yourself at this time. And Spirit is saying, as we move forward, I'm not against watching the news, the television. But with that, I always say, when it comes to social media and the news, I call it checking the scoreboard. And when you check the scoreboard, it doesn't take you long to check the score because it's either this and it's either that. So that's why I call, for me, checking the scoreboard. I'm not going to look at the news no longer than I need to. We know what kind of energy is there. It doesn't mean that you're being oblivious or you're ignoring anything. It doesn't mean that you're in fear of anything. It means that you are wise enough to practice self-preservation and not allow yourself to be engaged or become stressed and overwhelmed. Spirit is saying and has been saying in a lot of reads, A lot of things that we are allowing to make us upset, even things that make us maybe cry. You may become emotional and have had some feelings of emotion where you just break out and want to cry, male or female, and you don't know why. Like, where are these emotions coming from? A lot of times it's the saturation of an energy from us consistently having energy projected onto us that is negative, that is dark, that is low vibrational. Some things are in our control and some things are out of our control. And so when it comes to that, maybe you're someone like, look, I got to watch. Well, you know what? We have free will. You can watch and entertain and live your life however you choose. No one can tell you what to do. But there is a repercussion. So I'm speaking to the people who this is resonating for. I call it checking the scoreboard because I'm only going to, if I'm checking the weather, I'm going to check the weather and that's that. If there's anything breaking going on, usually that'll come to you without you even searching for it. It doesn't matter where you live. If there's something like breaking news or something urgent you need to know, it'll come to you. And because of the blessing of social media, okay, the double-edged sword, it'll come to you. It'll even come down the timeline, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, doesn't matter, TikTok, it'll come down the timeline. Someone will be speaking about it. So those who are spiritually inclined understand what I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah, you may find yourself getting emotional, and wondering like, why was I, what was that, But it's okay to cry. It's okay to release. I call it cleansing. But Spirit wants you to focus on yourself at this time. It's okay to check the scoreboards. Keep in touch with what's going on around you, but don't become so involved in it that it controls the narrative of your day, how you're feeling about yourself. Having you in an energy of anxiety or being nervous or having panic attacks because Spirit is saying that 99.999% of these things have not happened or will not happen. Some of them may, but have not happened or will just not happen. So you have to be mindful of everything you hear, allowing it to move you to the stinking thinking of the hypotheticals, the what ifs. Okay. Trust and know that there's a higher power always working for you. But right now, Spirit is saying to focus on self, grounding yourself, prayer, meditation, affirmations, cleansing, decluttering, spending time with your family, maybe having family fun nights. If you haven't done it, start incorporating them. There are things around your home you can do. I don't know what the weather is where you're at, if it's cold or either way, there are things you can do that doesn't cost a thing. You got to be creative, Spirit is saying, but there's a time for you to work on self and, maintain your home and be concerned with that. And, this doesn't mean to be oblivious, but there's a need to focus, on all areas when it comes to self. We have the Nine of Cups here, okay? Dreams come true, satisfaction and abundance. So Spirit is saying there's nothing to worry about. Things will arrive for you in divine time. And now I know you've heard this repetitively, but it is true. Everything has its own process, of when and how it will arrive. We have to remain optimistic whenever it comes to your hopes or dreams or things you are desiring, with the Ten of Cups confirming it. Come on now. Come on now. Spirit is just confirming to you. You got the 9 and the 10. See, collective, look at this. Look at the love. Look at the confirmation. Look what the divine, look what the ancestors are confirming to you that everything will be okay. So don't become so hyper focused. Oh, I heard, I heard, I heard, I heard. If you want to go get your water, your toilet tissue, go ahead and stock up. But Spirit is saying, no matter what you hear, no matter what you may see, trust and believe with the 9 and the 10 here. Ooh, baby, this is good news. This is good information. Dreams coming true, satisfaction and abundance. Then it says happy families, blessings and well-being. So there's a lot of blessings and well-being that is going to be placed and orchestrated into your life as you work on yourself and do the work. The divine and Spirit is saying it's not going to be handed to you, but as you continue to focus on yourself and work towards progress, these things will, be orchestrated and placed, spiritually speaking, in your path so that you can have the experience of the 10 of Cups, of having a happy home, a happy family with harmony and good health and well-being. Some of you could be manifesting or desiring just to have a family of harmony and love and peace And maybe where you are at right now, maybe it's a little toxic, who knows? But either way, you could be led or pivot in a direction to have a new family or create a new family. That's for someone who needs to hear it. Okay, because I'm picking up, where you may be. It may be very toxic. It may be a lot of friction, and you're ready for something new. You're ready for something different. And it's saying dreams are coming true. Both the 9 and the 10 are about abundance and prosperity, financially, in relationships and success. So you don't have to be frustrated. Trust and know that there's a higher power working for you. It doesn't matter what your belief system is. All are welcome on this channel. And be mindful, with the Three of Cups here. Gather with those, family and friends who are supportive, who are of positive energy, who are about love. Make sure you're engaging with people who celebrate you and not tolerate you. Make sure that you're using your discernment, that you're not, mingling with people who have unpure intentions. The bliss and fun that they're having in this card here is the energy that spirit wants you in. Live life, do what makes you happy, do what makes you feel good. Do what makes you feel confident as well. But make sure you're gathering with the right energy. Make sure that you're indulging in a lot of happiness, but make sure you're also doing these things within a balance, okay? Just as well as you go outside and hang out with your friends, male or female, make sure you're also spending time, if you are a parental figure, with your children. Make sure you're interacting with your children. That's for someone who needs to hear that. And even if this is something that, you have not done, like I said, mentioned earlier, you may have not never had a game night in your household, but it is something fun. I don't care if it's tic-tac-toe, painting, whatever it is. They still sell, games, board games, a deck of cards. Okay, you go to the dollar store and get those. I don't know, Uno night. I don't know, sit at the table, play spades, tongue. There's a lot of things you can do. Movie night. You can create games. Yeah, so that's for someone who needs to hear. So take what resonates and leave the rest for someone else, okay? And so we have the High Priestess here. This says knowledge and sharing beliefs, fellowship. So there could be, or you could be someone who has some kind of gift or skill. Maybe you're a motivational speaker. Maybe you do something on social media. Maybe this is something that you're working on with the High Priestess energy here. You could be working on this as a career. Someone also wants to write a self-help book, some kind of book to help and influence people. Well, this is a wonderful time. I got to hold it up again with the eye in the heart to write that book. Okay. Get started. Find you a self-publishing. That's for somebody. They're telling me to say self-publishing. Program or process. There's plenty of them. A lot of free self-publishing as well, that won't cost you a thing. And get started and go ahead and write that book. And anything you're working on, they're telling me something else. Anything that you're working on, and as I say this to you, it's also for me too. Trust and believe, not projecting negative energy. There are going to be people who are going to speak against it. So if you are that person that wants to write that book, start that business, return to school, lose weight, feel great, buy a house, have a child, get married, whatever it is, write a cookbook. Okay, someone wants to write a cookbook, go for it. Trust and believe. When you share your ideas with people, everyone, not all, is not going to be happy or pleased. And that's normal. And you're going to have people, when you share your idea or plan of having progress or success in your life, you're going to have people who are going to give you hypothetical stories about someone else they knew who did it and it didn't work, why you shouldn't do it. This ain't the good timing. You're not sure. You're going to have people that do that. When you're working on anything, you could be just working on having a peace of mind, and someone would pop up, maybe with some gossip, or all of a sudden, you get a phone call. Somebody wants you to listen to what happened. They got something to tell you. So that's normal. Spirit is saying that is normal. Don't feel like that is your confirmation coming from a friend or a family member. No, that is natural. Whenever you're working on progress in any area, and it can be something as simple as having a peace of mind or being content, there are going to be people who are going to speak against your ideas and what you are doing. But that doesn't mean for you to be discouraged. That means for you to stay encourage with the Four of Cups here. Do not allow anyone to get you down or make you feel like you don't belong or you're not capable or able of living the life that you so desire. We all are different people. We are uniquely, individually, divinely created. We all matter and we all hold value, even to the people who you may not like. Yeah, haters. This is real talk, or people you don't get along with. Look, everyone has a purpose. Everyone has an intention, and we don't have to, if a person doesn't resonate with us, we don't have to interact or deal with them. That's not what I'm saying. But if someone doesn't resonate, you simply just you break communication and let them do them while you do you. But be mindful, that is normal. That is for someone who really needs to hear that. Maybe you shared some ideas with some people and maybe they're speaking against it. Spirit is saying that is normal. Don't let that disturb you. Let that encourage you. Don't let that have you down. Let that influence you and put fuel in you to move forward. Confirmation to move forward. Okay. Mm-hmm. And yes, it is sad, but it happens. There's a large portion of people who don't want folks to be successful. They say it, but the moment that they hear, see, witness that someone that they know or is related to them is successful or have some kind of progress, there are people, not all people, who will speak against it or slander the person or belittle what they're doing or try to critique and tell them, oh, this isn't right. You should change that. You could be someone like I picked up someone as a cook. You're a chef. You want to write a cookbook. Maybe you do catering. Oh, yeah, you started a catering business, but you cooking out your kitchen. Duh. Somebody got to start somewhere. That's critiquing in a negative way. So your haters are going to do that. And that's why with the Hermit energy, that's why people choose to keep their business to themselves. It's not that anyone can take away what's for you from you. It's that you don't want your energy being tainted while you're building and creating. So it's a wonderful idea to remain a mystic. People don't need to know all your business, baby. They don't need to know the blueprint of your life. You don't owe it to anyone, to give them the blueprint of your life. There's nothing saying you must tell so and so what you're doing. So that's why a lot of people are confidential, and I must bring it up. Soul searching. It says solitude. Okay, contemplation here with the Hermit energy. Even with celebrities, if you ever seen a celebrity interview, um, and when the interviewer asks the celebrity before they close out any interview, they say, well, tell us about your future projects. What are you working on? And what does the celebrity say? Well, I can't speak on that yet. There's a reason why they are saying that, because it is true. When you are working on things, it's a good thing to just be silent and work on it. No one needs to know what you're doing, what your plans is. Keep your plans to yourself, your relationships to yourself, your finances to yourself. It is no one's business. If you're going through something, it's better to get a journal or take it to God, and let it fly. But it's better to work in silence. You can work in peace. You can establish and create that thing in peace. Okay. So know that you are fully capable, able. Okay. And so we have the Four of Coins, materialism, hoarding. Okay. Security. So yeah, you could be wanting to work on your security, especially when it comes to finances. And Spirit is saying that it's coming. You got the 10 here and you got the 9 here. It's coming. The money is coming. The 9 of Cups and the 10 is at the beginning of the read. They both represents abundance and prosperity and having more cohesiveness and harmony in your life and your relationships. People have moments in their life where things are up and sometimes things are down. But the goal is to not to throw in the towel, not to give up. No one is perfect. Life isn't perfect. I have to give another example, which I usually give. You can go to any retail store, gas station in any neighborhood, any business owner, and they will tell you that they show up every day and sometimes they get a customer and sometimes they don't. Some weeks or months they may make a good profit, and there are some weeks and months that they don't. So with this example being given, it takes discipline. If you want to see yourself progress in any area of life, it takes consistency, you showing up for yourself no matter what's going on. Sometimes, hey, even when you don't feel like it, you have to drag yourself. If you need rest, always get rest. But you'll have those moments where you're not feeling as spunky and funky. Okay? But it's consistency. You can ask any entrepreneur that, especially someone that owns any kind of retail store. They'll tell you, hey, some days I get one customer, but they continue to show up every day and get up and open that business and say, hello, how may I help you? You know? Yeah, or thanks for coming here. Okay. So with the Six of Wands, it is time for you to move forward and to more peace and harmony in your life. It is time for you to be financially secure. It is time for you to also be in that loving relationship. For some of you, you would like a loving relationship. Maybe the relationship you are in now currently, hey, it just doesn't satisfy you. Your desires have changed. And I talk about that a lot. We forget, that desires will change. Doesn't matter how long you've been married. Doesn't matter, listen, it doesn't mean that your spouse is a terrible person. Whether you're dating, live-in spouse, or married, desires will change. It will change. And when that change, really the answer is not having a threesome. The answer is not having a threesome. Because that is something, that's a habit that you can start that will really slap you in the face, and it will really diminish the relationship. Yes, I just said that. But your desires will change for different reasons. And it doesn't mean that your spouse is a terrible person. It doesn't mean that you're a terrible person. It means that it is a natural thing for your feelings, because love is a feeling, to change. And so people often, they look at divorce and, so and so wants a divorce, and a lot of people take that very hard. And it's because, when you don't have an understanding of self-awareness of who you are and your emotions. And I'm not talking about pretending like you're happy and you're sad. When you don't have an understanding of self-awareness and your emotions here on planet Earth, it's okay to cry. It's okay to grieve. But what I'm going to is, people look at it as a negative. You are not a loser or a terrible person because the person maybe you were married to for over 5 or 10 years, you no longer want to be with them. That doesn't mean that you're a terrible person. That means that your desires have changed. What you wanted then has dissipated. It's no longer able to sustain the now. What you wanted then has dissipated. It's no longer able to sustain you in the now. And so that's what I'm getting at. People often, even separations, breakups, that's why I named all three: marriage, whether it's a living spouse or you're dating, any kind of breakup, people really demonize and they internalize the energy from a breakup. Look, no one should never want to stay where they're not wanted. It can be very risky. It can be very dangerous to stay somewhere in an environment where you know you're not wanted. If someone expresses and shows you that, hey, I think it's time for us just to go our separate ways, it's best just to go your separate ways. It's okay to cry, but cry and move on. You don't want to force yourself, because it could be very dangerous staying somewhere and a person is letting you know that they're no longer interested. It's not to hurt you. It's because, as I speak of a lot in the reads as well, everyone that crosses our path in life is not here to stay forever. Everyone has different assignments. Everyone has a life of their own. Some will come to stay for a long time, whether it's friend, family, or romantic, and some will stay for a short time. But when it's time for them to carry on, they will do so. And so I just had to share that. It's not a negative thing, you know. And in reality, like real reality, you just have to think about that. It's a beautiful thing. Love is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful experience, but it is a feeling, and feelings change. Okay. And so the idea of what I'm about to say, for you to think, collective, or anyone that thinks, okay, I'm gonna get in this relationship and it's gonna be perfect forever. It's just unrealistic. And you're not being fair to yourself, and you're not being fair to anybody else. Nobody is perfect. If a person chooses to stay, because there are situations where people choose to stay, and really the people that they're with, their time has expired. uh, there's a repercussion for that, and that's where there's continuous friction. They find problems constantly arriving. They'll stay, 20 years, 30 years in that marriage or in that relationship or dating that person, but the friction will increase. It doesn't get better. And sometimes it doesn't get better for many reasons. One is their time has expired to be on your timeline. You were supposed to meet that person. It was meant to be. But when their time is up, divinely speaking, spiritually speaking, the divine is saying, you have to be willing to release that person and surrender them and let them move on. There could be a lesson for you to learn from that particular relationship, friendship, or romantic partnership. Maybe that person came to show you something about yourself. And so that's what I mean when people demonize it and look at it as a negative thing because somebody say they want to break up. It is not a negative thing. It is saying we have grown. You go that way and I'm going that way. It is saying that, the lesson should have been learned by now. So everyone is not going to come and stay to the very, very end and everything be perfect, but we have free will. But like I said, there's a repercussion. And those are the relationships you hear about where, maybe the spouse put on a smile, but they're really emotionally and spiritually disheveled on the inside, because they know that, their spouse is, flitty, loosey goosey, out there, embarrassing them. Everybody knows, that they're not faithful, or, they're just not a good partner or a good spouse. But you have free will. There are people who choose to sacrifice their life and they will stay in an unhealthy connection. It happens. It happens. And maybe, the spouse will run around with a, little poker face, but really just be all broken up on the inside. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to allow yourself to surrender. When it's time to go, it's time to go. Yeah, you don't hold on to what the divine say it's time to let go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't want to get in the habit into blaming the divine for everything. We gotta, I mean, like, love is a feeling and feelings change, and there is no reward because you chose to stay in a connection that is unhealthy. With me saying this, someone needs to hear that, okay? Someone needs to hear that. Someone could be in a very unhealthy connection or with someone that they don't want to let go. Okay, those are all feelings, baby. And if you're not happy, it's up to you, okay? Stay or go, okay? See, because the wheel of fortune is here, okay? It says cycles of life, fate and good luck. Now, it says fate and good luck over here. They're falling down and this person is walking up. So the only way the wheel of fortune will arrive, this is fate and good luck, is when you surrender yourself from what does not serve you. When you choose to work on self, which is the objective of this read here, work on healing, progressing, doing things that are healthy, things that are fruitful, spending time with those who love you in return, your children, family, and friends. This is when the wheel of fortune comes up. The wheel of fortune does not arrive because, you know, I love him, I love her, they good in the bedroom, I can't let it go. The wheel of fortune is not going to pop up. And often when people choose to sacrifice themselves to be in unhealthy connections, this is what they're also sacrificing. They're sacrificing possibly becoming wealthy, successful, living their dream life, being in that relationship they really want, the career that they wanted, starting that business. This could be a whole lot of things. Anything involving success, prosperity, or happiness with the wheel of fortune here that a person could desire, hope, wish for, pray, petition, manifest is here in the wheel of fortune. So this is what we sacrifice when we choose not to focus on ourselves and we give our energy away to everything around us instead of staying grounded and making sure that we are ready to pivot in a direction that the divine say is best for us and our highest good. This is what we forfeit. This is what we give up on. We give up on favor, blessings, and opportunity because you're sending out the signal to the universe. You're magnetizing collective that you're not ready. If you're saying, you can't leave an unhealthy connection, well, that means you're not ready. So the blessing and the favor stays blocked. You'll magnetize more friction in the relationship, more cheating, more deceitful behavior. Someone's being verbally abused, someone's in a relationship. I'm picking it up where someone talks their partner talks nasty to them, very disrespectful. Maybe like to have altercations in public as well. So when you choose these connections, or you choose to, attach to the gossip, or, let's go troll so and so page, and let's go see who we can make feel bad, or let's plan, plot, and strategize against somebody. That toxic, dark shadow energy. And everything is in toxicity that I just named. When your state of mind stays there in that place, you forfeit the opportunity. Doesn't matter who you are. You give up the opportunity of progress. And a lot of people pray for things and they feel like they're not being heard, and that's not true. You are being heard. We all are loved, we all matter, and we all have a spiritual connection whenever we want to communicate with the divine. You do not need a third party for that. You may have been instructed otherwise, or brainwashed to think that you need a third party, but you really don't. But that's what you forfeit, prosperity, favor, and blessings on your life when you choose to just not rise from the occasion and time has expired. It's okay to make mistakes, and maybe when you were younger you got into things and you didn't know no better, but now that you're older, you are an adult, you're wiser now, you're making better decisions, and that's when the wheel of fortune will present sprinkles of favor into your life. Okay, so you have to be mindful of the company you keep, who you're calling your friends, who you're confiding your business into. Make sure if you are in a connection, you have free will, but this is just a message. If you are in a relationship, that relationship has some reciprocity, that you're able to have effective communication with your partner. I picked up someone's being verbally abused. It has someone who is reckless with their mouth. And likes to embarrass them. Just make sure that you're doing things that are healthy. Because if you sacrifice and stay in these connections and do the opposite, well, that's your choice. But with the high priestess is here, spirit is clearly saying that you already have the answers and know what needs to be done. And the truth is, in general, a lot of situations that we all deal with in life, we do know the answer. We do. We do. We do. I concur with that, spirit. Yes, I do. I concur. Yeah, we already know the answer. So, yeah. Yeah, you want to make sure you're with like-minded energy. You see, it says mutual respect. You want to be not just romantically, but friendships as well. Family as well. Make sure whoever you are allowing into your life, as well as your children's life, if you are a parental figure, that there's a mutual respect and understanding where people respect your boundaries. Okay, and vice versa, you are doing the same. Make sure there's like-minded energy that you have in common. Okay. And so there's nothing to be anxious or in fear about in this read. This is just a spiritual notification. Okay. So spirit is saying this is the time. If you are feeling nervous or anxious, or or you're clicking on a lot of titles that's putting you in anxiety, be careful with that. Be careful with constantly clicking on social media, listening to stories or feeds. It's okay to be informed, but if you keep going to that one area, and then before you know it, you're full of anxiety because you may be someone who don't know how to ground yourself, or you may not know how to protect your aura while you're watching or listening to the television or the news. You may be someone who don't know how to protect yourself, and it could cause you to be in an energy of being depressed, the Nine of Swords. And that's what this reading is talking about. Being mindful of who and what you allow in your life. People, places, and things. So that's information, people, places, and things. That's all things. You don't want to be in depression or feeling sad because you have consumed so much negative projection, you know? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It matters. The company you keep matters. It could have you in the energy, of the Ten of Swords. Like what is going on? Like I just woke up smiling. I don't know what is this feeling? Yeah. Be mindful, collector. And so with the hangman energy here, yeah, surrender. Yeah, you have to surrender those things that are unhealthy for you. And it's different for everyone. Everyone's life is not the same, okay? This could be just the way you think. This could be, your mindset, how you think, how you feel about yourself, about others. But it's saying surrender. When something isn't working, it isn't working. When it's time to let it go, let it go. And with relationships, I'm going to jump back on that. A lot of people stay because they're concerned with what people will say or think about them. A lot of people, they give themselves a lot of reasons. They give themselves, God said, leave me out of it. They give themselves reasons and excuses why they should stay unhappy. Huh? You choose to sacrifice yourself. That is your business. Okay. That is your business. But trust and know that the sun is waiting to shine. The sun is waiting to shine, meaning that there could be someone who would love to uh, date you, get to know you, marry you, treat you the way that you desire to be treated, respect you and honor you, male or female. But you have to make way for this kind of energy. It's not going to arrive while you're in an unhealthy connection. It's not going to arrive while you're dealing with toxic family members or friends. It's not going to arrive. The sun is not going to arrive. That energy is not going to arrive while you're in a mess. But when you show that you're making progress in your life, then it will arrive, then it will show itself in different areas, a more peaceful conversation, calmer situation, having some kind of resolve in your life where the things that you once worried about or frustrated you will no longer have a grasp of your mental faculties, will no longer be able to overwhelm or stress you. Okay. So the sun is waiting. Okay. It says success, optimism, and openness. The sun is waiting to shine on you, collective. So make sure that you are always practicing self-preservation.